In every division of the UFC, there are the GOATs. The fighters that people look up to. These are the guys that, when you think of who are the greatest of all time, these are the first guys that come to mind. These are the guys that you think represent what it means to be the best mixed martial artist on the planet. So I'm going to be giving my opinion on the top 10 greatest fighters of all time. Let this be known, this is just my opinion. Don't get mad at what I had to say. Okay, it's just my opinion. Your top 10 is still as valid as anyone else's top 10. Unless you have CM Punk at number 2, because he should be number 1. Alright. My number 10 might make you guys mad, but it's... Remember, this is all subjective at this point. It's all subjective. So, here we go. Number 10, I'm going to put Islam Makhachev. You guys are probably going to be like, what? The Islam Makhachev fans are probably like, yeah, he's getting the respect he deserves. And if you hate him, then you're probably thinking, oh, this fucking guy, fuck this guy. I'm a Charles Oliveira fan. I was praying that Oliveira sleeps this Dagestani fuck. I don't hate Islam Makhachev. I hate Arman Tsarukyan, so I hope Islam fucks up Arman Tsarukyan if Oliveira doesn't, but that's not going to happen because Oliveira's going to win. People have to give Islam his flowers, okay? Okay, he's 25-1. His only loss is to, like, a bum that he fought early on in his career when his striking wasn't really evolved. His striking's a lot better now. He's 32. He's beat Oliveira. He ran through Oliveira. It hurts me to say, but he ran through Oliveira. He beat Volkanovski twice, but that second fight has an asterisk. And the first fight was a little bit suspect because he kind of got exposed a bit. But he did beat him, and he was able to go 5 rounds with him. And he was making it competitive against the number 1 pound-for-pound guy at the time. And then he was able to knock him out, even though Volkanovski took it on 11 days' notice. Still. You know, Dan Hooker, it's a decent win. Thiago Moises, a decent win. Arman Tsarukyan, that win has aged so well for him. People just like aren't giving this guy credit because he's Dagestani. Listen, I get it. I don't like a lot of them, but I gotta give him his credit where credit is due. He is an incredible fighter. He does have a really good skill set. If he beats Poirier, if he fights Poirier and beats Poirier, I'd probably move him above my number 9. But you know, right now I'll leave him at the number 10. I think he's got a lot of room to improve his resume. I think if he beats Gaethje and Poirier, I think he becomes the lightweight GOAT. And I think he moves up to, like, my number... I'd say he moved up to my number 7 if he did that. If he beat both of them, I think he'd move up to my number 7. But right now, I think number 10 is a good spot for him. I think he's much better than Khabib. Let's be fucking clear. I think he's much better than Khabib. Because he's been trying to fight a lot better opponents. People are going to be like, oh yeah, well he beat Bobby Green to get the belt. He was scheduled to fight Beneil Dariush at the time, okay? You can't blame him for that. I think he's going to fight a lot better competition. I think he's already beaten a lot better competition. Let's be clear. Charles Oliveira and Volkanovski are better than Dos Anjos, McGregor, Poirier, and Gaethje. You can't argue with that. Oliveira beat Poirier and Gaethje. He beat both of them. And Makhachev actually beat a really good guy for them. Khabib beat Ali Quinta for the fucking belt. Islam had to go through Charles Oliveira. I just think Islam's a lot better than Khabib, and I think he's earned his spot at the number 10. I honestly do, and I think he has a lot more room and time to improve his resume. He's 32. He's still got like a solid maybe 2-3 years left to do this and really get a perfect resume. So that's not my number 10 spot. Number 9, we got Dominic Cruz. Fucking Christ, he does not look good in that photo. They fucking did him dirty in this. Okay, 24-3. He's 39 right now. His best wins are Uriah Faber, TJ Dillashaw, Demetrious Johnson, and Joseph Benavidez. In my opinion, those are his best wins. Yeah, I just think, I think he's the bantamweight GOAT. I mean, you can make an argument for Aldo, but I just think after getting knocked out by Sean O'Malley and then leaving the division immediately, it's like, I don't know if I can put him up there anymore. But, I mean, like, in his prime, he was able to go toe-to-toe with TJ Dillashaw. He beat Uriah Faber. Oh, I forgot to put Uriah Faber ×2. He beat Uriah Faber twice. I mean, he was able to beat Demetrious Johnson when Demetrious Johnson was at bantamweight, but regardless, that's still an incredible win. He beat Joseph Benavidez when Joseph Benavidez was at bantamweight, but it's still a really good win. I mean, he's beaten really good opponents. I mean, his recent couple performances, not the best. He's kind of, declined with age. But it happens to every great fighter. I mean, for a long time, he was just that unsolvable puzzle. But he eventually got solved. And while his style and his body have aged, and he may not be the most effective anymore, he's still a tricky puzzle for most. And I think that due to what he's done, dude, it's so terrifying having to look at my screen and see him fucking stare at me. I think for what he's done in the division, how he's kind of brought it up in the UFC, the guy was a trash talker too. Have you seen his interviews with Cody Garbrandt? Fucking, he has to be this self-perceived alpha male. He's like, yeah, whatever, bro. Dude, you are right next door, dude. He's like, do something. He has to be the self-thought alpha male, Sigma. He didn't say Sigma, but I just I don't think he gets a lot of the respect he deserves sometimes. But I think he's the bantamweight GOAT, and I do think as of right now he's done more than Islam, and great fighter. I think he deserves to be top 10. Number 8, Stipe Miocic. Fuck it. So Stipe, it sounds like you want to call out Tyson Fury to a boxing match. Give me my shot. Give me my shot. Give me my shot. Stipe Miocic, 20-4, 40 years old right now. His best wins are Francis Ngannou, Cormier twice, Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovsky, Fabricio Verdum. Yeah, he has the most title defenses he has the most, I think, title defenses overall at heavyweight. I think he holds the most consecutive title defenses. Yeah, he's a beast, but he would be higher. It's just, when you get knocked out by Francis Ngannou in your last fight, and then you take 3 years off and you don't do anything, you don't try and get back to the belt at all, it doesn't look good for you. It doesn't, dude. There are a lot of orange spots all over his chest I'm seeing. Jesus. Who knows? Maybe it's because he's a fireman. Yeah, but when you just take that much time off, and you don't do anything, you kind of just sit there and hold your rank. And then when Jon Jones moves up, you're like, it sounds like you say you want to fight Jon Jones. I want my shot. I want my shot. Not the best look, Still, great fighter. Fucking incredible prime. Nothing but respect for Stipe. He deserves to be in the top 10, I believe. And I just think if he was more active during that time, I could see him take... He takes a lot of time between fights. When he lost to DC the first time, he really, tried his absolute... he waited a long time just so he could get his rematch. He waited a year, and then he waited another year to fight DC again. He's just been taking so many gaps between fights. I think if he maybe fought twice a year, he might be higher on this list, but You know, he's still a top 10 fighter of all time, and you know, I think he's undercredited at times. So number 7, we have Anderson Silva. You guys are probably fucking raging by now. Oh, Anderson Silva number 7, but not the Spider. He had like 7 losses in a row, dude. He had like 4 losses in a row in a no contest. He beat Derek Brunson, and then he won on like another 3 losses in a row. He's 48 right now. I think at the time of retiring, he was like 44. But in terms of his best wins, Chael Sonnen, Vitor Belfort, Dan Henderson, Damian Maia, Rich Franklin, Forrest Griffin, Nate Marquardt. I just don't think his wins have like aged the greatest. You know, like, looking back on it, like, I think the guys he's beating just aren't as good as the guys today. Like, I think you put DDP and Strickland against some of these guys, I think they'd be able to beat most of them. Like, if you put prime DDP versus prime Chael Sonnen, fuck. If DDP does the right funky move at the right time, I think he could beat him. He probably would beat him. No, DDP would beat Chael Sonnen. If he dreamed hard enough, of course, because Chael Sonnen's obviously the fucking undisputed GOAT of all time. I just didn't put Chael Sonnen on this list because I feel like we already know. That's like the one person that's like objective. Like, he's objectively the best of all time. I just think his wins haven't aged that well, regardless. When you have the longest win streak in UFC history and the second most title, and you're in second place for the most title defenses consecutively, I think you earned your flowers and you've earned your spot amongst the best. But I just think his wins haven't aged too well. Like, Rich Franklin, he was a math teacher. Literally, he was a math teacher. He would teach his students and then go into camp. No, I think he would teach his students throughout his camp, and then the week of the fight, he would fly out. I just think some of his wins are outdated, and he gets a little bit overrated regardless. Still one of the greatest of all time. Gotta give him his flowers. Love the dude. Number 6, we have our boy, the King of Rio, who is returning, by the way, Jose Aldo. Fucking Christ, this dude is shredded. His record is 31-8. He's 37 years old. His best wins: Chad Mendes, Frankie Edgar, TKZ, Uriah Faber, Jeremy Stevens, Moicano, Marlon Vera, Pedro Munoz, Rob Font, and I don't care what you say, he beat Marlon Moraes. It was a clear victory. He won that shit clear as day. Marlon Moraes was like crying before they even announced the decision because he thought he lost. But I'll put him at 6, dude. I mean, he dominated the division he was in for a while. I mean, his most competitive fight up until McGregor was against Chad Mendes, which I thought was a fight that he pretty clearly won. I thought he clearly won 3 rounds to 2. I couldn't tell you which rounds right now, but if I go back and watch it, like, I could probably tell you which rounds. It's just... And people like to think that after McGregor, he was washed automatically out of his prime. The guy was still like 30 when he lost to McGregor. He was not that much older than him. After McGregor, he beat Frankie Edgar, and then he lost to Max Holloway twice. He won the belt back after McGregor. And then, yeah, he lost to Max Holloway twice, and then he beat Moicano and Jeremy Stevens after that. Then he lost to Volkanovski. Then he moved down. And sure, he had that fucking robbery against Marlon Moraes, which he should have won. And then he fought Piotr Jan. Like, I don't think he gets the credit he deserved. And he was supposed to fight Henry Cejudo, too. Imagine if he fought and beat Henry Cejudo. If he fought and beat Henry Cejudo, I'm moving Jose Aldo off automatically. I'm moving him all the way up to, like, the number what? I think I'd move him up to... I think I'd put him at, like, number 4. Number 4, maybe number 3. I just think right now, you know, if he comes back and wins, I think, and beats Jonathan Martinez, I'll move him up to number 5. I think he deserves it. But you know, his dominance cannot be understated. And I just think eventually, as time passed, his style and his skill set got a little bit outdated. And as the game evolved, and as styles evolved, they were able to figure out certain styles like the one Jose Aldo had. I mean, you can only be the best for so long. Eventually, someone will come, and eventually, someone will beat you. And that's what you saw with guys like McGregor and Holloway and Volk. It's not that he wasn't good and that he was washed and he was out of his prime. The game and the fighters evolved to a point where it just moved past his style. Like Volk and Topuria. Volk is by no means washed. If you look at him during that fight with Topuria, I thought he was winning majority of that fight. I thought he was winning that fight. I thought he took round 1, and I thought he was winning round 2 soundly until he got knocked out. It's just, you know, Ilya had the style. Not only did he have the style, he had the perfect Volk coming in for him. He had a Volk coming off of a knockout loss, a head kick knockout loss. Ilya Topuria at that time, he was the guy to beat Volk. He was the guy to beat him. And I think style-wise, Ilya Topuria was great for him. A fucking short, stocky juggernaut, follows through on combinations, rips it to the body, into the head really well. I think his style was there to catch Volk like that. So I could put Jose Aldo at 6. I think if he comes back, who knows? If he comes back and not only wins the belt, but makes a run for the title and somehow wins it by the grace of God, I'm putting him at number 2. Not even a question. I'll put him at number 2. But right now, he's number 6. And I think it's a good spot for him. So, yeah. That's my number 6. Number 5, Fat Man Cormier. Because you know it's all about that cake and chicken. I'm all about that cake and chicken. I'm all about that cake and chicken. I'm all about that cake. You know, record of 22-3 with 1 no contest. He was 44 years old. His best wins, Stipe Miocic. He has a win over Stipe Miocic, but he's lost twice to him. You know, he's beaten Anthony Johnson twice, not Anthony Joshua. We saw what Joshua did to Ngannou. We don't want to see what Joshua would do to Cormier in the boxing ring. You know, he's beat Anderson Silva, Gustafsson, Ozdemir Lewis. The guy was a 2-division champ. He's defended in both divisions. You know, in terms of the accolades, you can't get much better than that. He has a win over the heavyweight GOAT. You know, in terms of that, you can't get much better than that. His only losses are to Stipe and Jon Jones. And we all know Jon Jones is juiced to the fucking gills. So, this one I'm going to just keep short. Yeah, this, you know, 2-division champ. He fought like into his 40s and was winning. So, I think his skill gets understated. So, yeah, Daniel Cormier, number 5 in my greatest of all time. Yeah. Number 4. You probably won't like it. I have Volkanovski. Now his notable wins: Max Holloway 3 times, schooling him the 3rd time, clearly winning the 1st time, and it's a little bit suspect the 2nd time, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, he beat Jose Aldo, who was 32 and coming off back-to-back wins. Don't try to say he was fucking washed up. Because here's what's going to happen. If Jose Aldo beats Jonathan Martinez, I know for a fucking fact you guys aren't going to be like, oh, you guys aren't going to be like, well, yeah, but he's still washing out of his prime. You guys are going to be like, oh, the King of Rio is back. He's the GOAT. Never left his prime. He's still as dominant and as good as ever. Shut the fuck up. If you're going to keep the same energy for this, you got to keep the same energy for when he wins. You got to still say, yeah, but he's out of his prime and he's never going to be champ. And I want to see it if you guys say that. Or you can accept Jose Aldo was still in his prime when he fought Volk, and he was and Volk just outclassed him. Okay, Chad Mendes, great win. Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez. And like half of these guys, all of these guys actually, he's just schooling them. And I know he's lost to Islam, and he's lost to Topuria. But dude, Max Holloway 3 times, and Jose Aldo, Chad, like, you can't get past. And he was fucking schooling these guys in their fight. Yeah, he got dropped by Mendes. What happened like next round? He fucking, boom. Fucking started working Mendes. Picking his ass apart. Pieced the fuck up out of Brian Ortega. Knocked out Yair Rodriguez. Was schooling Korean Zombie on the feet. Then again, Korean Zombie didn't really deserve to be in there. It's kind of a short notice fight. But, you know, you can't understate how good Volk is. His skill set is one of the best. One of the best fight IQs. In terms of preparation, he probably some of the best preparation. You know, I just think people like him, I get it. I don't think people really credit a lot of his wins. Like that Jose Aldo win, people try to like discredit at every turn by saying Jose Aldo was out of his prime. No, he wasn't. Okay. No, I just think he deserves a spot. I think he deserves to be in the top 5. He's done a lot for the division. I mean, he's beat 2 of the 3 featherweights. He's beaten 2 out of the 3. Oh my god. He's beaten 2 out of the other 4 featherweight champions. I keep forgetting Topuria is the champion at this point. Oof. Fuck, Jesus. Damn. But no, it's just you can't overstate. You can't overstate this guy's wins. You can't overstate his dominance. 5 title defenses, 6 title wins. I mean, the guy took Islam Makhachev as he was like a plus 300 underdog. Damn, he took Islam to deep waters. And I know there's the rematch, and he got knocked out. But I mean, it was short notice. Like 11 days, drinking beer. People are gonna be like, "Oh, Kopanovsky, he's coping. Here come the excuses. Pound for pound number 1 of excuses." I mean, hey, I was just doing my head in how to stay active. I was just doing my head in, Mike. How to stay active, Hey, listen, you had your chance. You're done. Alright? You just had to stay active. And I honestly think that's what it was. I think this guy literally cannot go too long without fighting, or it eats away at him. And I think that was his downfall. I think if he was willing to stay a little bit less active for more recovery, like if he waited till June, let's say he waited till July to fight Ilya. Fuck, dude, that fight might have gone differently. But I think his just unyielding desire to constantly stay active just eats away at him. I think it just eats away at him. And I think that'll be his downfall. And that is the start of his downfall. But who knows, maybe he can bounce back. I hope he bounces back, and I hope he gets that belt back. Number 3, Jon Jones. You guys are already riding at this point. 27-1, 36. His best wins are Daniel Cormier, Gane, Santos, Reyes, Teixeira, Rashad, Rampage, Hua, Belfort, Machida, and Gustafsson. Let's be clear. Jones has only fought 2 young, up-and-coming contenders. He's only fought 2 young, hungry contenders. Do you want to know why? He is younger than Daniel Cormier. He is younger than Thiago Santos. He is younger than Glover Teixeira. He is younger than Rashad Evans. He's younger than Rampage Jackson. He's younger than fucking Shogun Hua. He's younger than Vitor Belfort. He's younger than Lyoto Machida. And he's younger than fucking Alexander Gustafsson. He's younger than all of them. He's only older than Cyril Gane. We don't talk about Cyril Gane because Cyril Gane got comfy training in his fucking gym. It was like Jon says. I'll admit Jon was completely right about Gane. He's training in his little comfy little gym in Paris. While Jon was out there, he was in the grittier environments, training with big fucking heavyweights ready to wrestle and work his ass. And Gane training with middleweights and welterweights, just working on his striking, doing the pad work, going through it. I think when he fought, look what happened when he fought a genuine young up-and-coming contender who was willing to put in the effort and die for it. Reyes, he got pieced the fuck up for the first 3 rounds. He was getting beat on the first 3 rounds. Yeah, whatever, he may have lost that fight. Sure, he may have won the fight, but nobody really agrees with that. Did he really win? I think he clearly lost the first 3 rounds. It was clear as day. He got and if it was 4-1, it should have been 4-1 Reyes. Then again, the guy has the most title wins in UFC history. No matter what, you can't take that away from him. But he has the longest unbeaten streak, not the longest win streak. It got snapped by that no contest. He has the longest unbeaten streak in the UFC history. And no, I can't take any of that away from him. Still a great fighter. He's on PEDs and he beats his wife. Never gonna put him as my GOAT. You'll never see me do it. Number 2, GSP. This was genuinely the highest resolution photo I could find. 26-2. He's 42 right now. His best wins are Michael Bisping, Matt Hughes twice, Matt Serra, BJ Penn twice, Koscheck twice, Carlos Condit, Nick Diaz, and Johnny Hendricks. The Johnny Hendricks one is, a suspect one. Probably should have lost that fight, maybe. But it's the same thing with Jon. I'm still going to put it there. I'm still going to, I'm not going to count the wins that don't go as a loss. I'm not going to count the losses that don't go on a loss on their record. I will count the wins that don't go as a wins on their record, though. I'll never count the losses that don't go as losses on their records, but I'll always count the wins so I can benefit Jose Aldo and not look like a fucking loser with this. He's greatest middleweight of all time. Moves up a division 4 years after not fighting, and then beats the shit out of Michael Bisping. Probably the worst fucking fighter he could have fought for the belt at the time. Let's be clear, Michael Bisping and Matt Serra are tied for the 2 worst champions in UFC history. And I know some Sean Strickland haters gonna come and be like, oh, well, Sean Strickland's probably the worst. Michael Bisping at least defended his belt. He got a fluke left hook over Luke Rockhold. And then he proceeded to fight a 40-year-old number 12 ranked Dan Henderson. Fuck off. Sean Strickland beats the fuck out of prime Bisping. Can't convince me otherwise. But GSP fucking beating the shit out of the guy since like day one, bruh. GSP been beating the shit out of that guy since I was swimming around in my dad's nutsack, dude. He's the man. One of the most, he's like some of the most title wins. Like, he's like third for most consecutive title defenses. It's just, can't take away from the dude. I had Demetrious Johnson as my GOAT. People are going to be like, oh, he's trying too hard to be a hardcore fan. He's naming all these guys, but he hasn't seen any of them fight. Yes, I have. Fuck you. Ray Borg. Maybe not Ray Borg. But Kyoji Horiguchi? I've seen him fight. You know who he's beat? He's beat the current number 6 guy, Manel Cape. And DJ smoked Kyoji Horiguchi. And by smoked, he beat him up for 5 rounds and then submitted him with 1 second left. And he has the latest finish in UFC history. In a title fight. Joseph Benavidez, Joseph Benavidez have been shinny, but here's the thing. Anytime, he'll always have a close, competitive first fight with a fighter, or usually he has a close, competitive first fight with the fighter, and in the rematch, he'll just smoke him. Joseph Benavidez went to a split decision the first time. Rematch, knocked him out in 36 seconds. John Dodson, kind of close, he got dropped in the first fight. And people are going to be like, who the fuck is John Dodson? John Dodson was able to drop Petr Yan. Hold on, there's like something in my sock that's poking at my ankle. John Dodson was able to drop Petr Yan. Kyoji Horiguchi has beaten Manel Cape by arm triangle. Henry Cejudo. Can't take away from that win at all. Ray Borg got a flying armbar on him. That's just cool. Tim Elliott. Yeah, Tim Elliott's not the greatest one. But it's aging surprisingly well. I mean, dude, Tim Elliott, after losing to Brandon Royval, has kind of had the best success he's ever had in his career. Tim Elliott's doing pretty good now, actually, in terms of his success. I like what he's doing. I mean, Tim Elliott's beat a Dagestani. And DJ smoked Tim Elliott, for the most part. And then, and he was fighting these guys at 125. Then he gets traded to 1FC. And he fights Adriano Moraes, who is 5'8", and they're not fighting at 125 anymore. They're fighting at 135. And he was able to beat a fucking huge bantamweight in Adriano Moraes. He was able to find his distance, find his range. And dude, have you seen that fight, the second fight, the knockout? He fucking fakes the knee and right hook. He fakes a knee. He raises a knee like he's about to kick, and then fakes a left hook. I said right hook the first time, but it's a left hook that baits out Adriano Moraes' lead right hook. He baits out a right hook from Moraes. He steps back, leans out of the way of it just in case he threw with the intent to hit, and then perfect right hand down the pipe. Dude, that IQ is fucking incredible. He preemptively moved out of the way. His entire plan was basically, he can move out the way, and he springs off his back foot. He's basically guaranteeing the dodge, the check lead right hook, if he does commit to it completely. And while he did kind of commit to it, he didn't commit to it with force. and then he springs off that with a perfect straight right hand down the pipe. The guy's the GOAT. I think he is the greatest of all time. And, you know, yeah, that's about it. Tell me who you guys think the GOAT is. Tell me why you think they're the GOAT. And just give me your thoughts down below. Bye-bye, nerds.